All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of programming's most powerful and, let's be honest, sometimes really confusing relationships, the one between pointers and arrays. You might think it's some kind of dark magic, but by the end of this, you'll see it's all just some very clever work with computer memory.
So, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Look at these two pieces of code. On the surface, they look totally different, right? One is the good old array access we all know. The other, well, it looks like some bizarre math problem. But what if I told you that to the computer they are exactly 100% the same thing? Let's dive into how on earth that's possible. To crack this secret, we have to completely rethink what an array really is. We usually imagine it as a box or a list of items. But deep down where the computer does its work, it has a secret identity. I want you to picture an array as a street of houses, all lined up perfectly one after the other. Now, each house, of course, has its own unique address. The name of the array, let's call it My Array. It's not the whole street. It's just the address of the very first house on the block. That is the absolute key to all of this. The name itself is an address. And this brings us to the fundamental rule that makes it all click. When you have an array, its name, like A here, is the starting memory address. It's not holding the data, it's holding the location. So if you create a pointer P and you say P equals A, you're not copying the whole array, nope. You're just telling the pointer, hey, remember the address of that first house. And here's the punchline. Accessing AJ is the exact same thing as telling a pointer to start at the beginning and just go J houses down the street and look at what's inside.
So, if an array name is just an address, what's the perfect tool for navigating a bunch of addresses? A pointer. Seriously, think of a pointer as a dedicated GPS device for your computer's memory. It's built to do one thing and do it really, really well. Hold an address and take you straight there.
And here you go. This is what that street of houses actually looks like to your machine. It's nothing fancy. It's just a continuous, unbroken block of memory. You can see right here how each element sits at a specific address, one right after the other, like houses with consecutive numbers, 980, 984, 988, and on and on.
Okay, let's see this in action with some actual code. This line, int DPS pointer, this is us declaring our GPS device. That little asterisk is what tells the computer, hey, I'm making a variable called pointer, and it's not going to hold a regular number. It's going to hold the address of where an integer is stored.
And next up, we give our GPS its destination. This line, pointer equals list, doesn't copy the array at all. It just takes the address that the array's name, list, represents, and it stores it in our pointer. Just like that, our GPS is locked onto the beginning of our memory street.
All right, our GPS is all set up. Now we can start the fun part, navigating. Let's see how some super simple math lets our pointer just walk from one house to the next, giving us access to any element we want.
So, how do we get to, say, the fourth element in the array? Well, we start with our pointer, which we know is aimed at the very first element. Then, we just add 3. This is called pointer arithmetic, and it's smart enough to automatically figure out the correct memory offset to land exactly on the address of the fourth element. Then that little star, the dereference operator, comes in and says, okay, we're at the right address. Now show me the value that's actually stored inside.
And this isn't just for reading data. We can write it too. Check this out. The code moves the pointer 3 steps forward, P plus 3, which lands it at address 992. Then star P equals 293 basically says, at the address I'm currently pointing to, I want you to change the value inside to 293. It's an incredibly direct and powerful way to manipulate array elements.
Now let's see how this looks in a loop. On the left, you've got the standard method, using an index I. Totally fine, but on the right is the pointer version. Instead of calculating a new address from the start every single time, we just print the value at the pointer's current address. And then, this is the cool part, we just do pointer plus plus to tell the pointer to simply move to the next house. The result? Exactly the same.
Okay, that makes sense for a single line of data, a 1D array. But what about grids, two-dimensional arrays? Well, the big secret is that even a 2D array is kind of an illusion. In the computer's memory, it's still just one long single line of houses.
So, just like before, we've got 2 ways to get to an element in our grid. We have the standard array 3-1 notation, or we can point our pointer to the beginning of a specific row and then just hop over by one element. This brings up a really critical question. Is one of these ways actually better than the other?
And the answer, it turns out, is a definite yes. Pointer access is faster. But why? What is happening behind the scenes that gives pointers this little speed advantage?
So here's the deal. When your computer sees array 3 and 1, it has to do two separate calculations. First, it has to figure out how far into memory the third row begins. Then, from that new spot, it has to calculate the offset for the first column. But if you have a pointer that's already aimed at the start of that row, star plus 1 is just one single calculation, a direct jump from where it already is. Fewer steps means faster code. Simple as that.
All right, let's make this crystal clear with a fantastic practical example. We're going to use a 2D array of characters, which is basically just a list of names, to see some really surprising and powerful behavior that shows off what pointers can really do.
So here's our setup. We've got an array called name that's holding 5 different strings. You can see how they're laid out in memory, with each name starting at a new base address, 25860, 25870, and so on. Pretty straightforward.
Now watch this. We make a character pointer PTR, and we point it at name 0, which is the starting address of the string Pakistan. Now when we try to print PTR, something really special happens. With character pointers, the system doesn't print the memory address. Instead, it prints the entire string, starting from that address all the way until it hits the end.
But wait, look, if we add that dereference operator, if we say star pointer, we're no longer telling it print starting from this address. We're now saying print the single value that's right at this address. And what's the value at the starting address of Pakistan? It's just the single character P. This little distinction is everything.
Okay, let's take this one step further to really hammer it home. If our pointer, PTR, is pointing to the beginning of the string Korea, what do you think PTR plus 2 is going to do? It doesn't add a number. It moves the starting address 2 characters down the line and then starts printing from there, giving us RIA. We've just created a substring by doing simple math on an address. How cool is that?
So what we've really seen today is that pointers aren't just some random feature. They are a window into how the machine actually thinks. They peel back all those nice layers of abstraction and let us see the raw addresses underneath. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What other programming magic that we use every single day is really just clever, direct work with memory addresses? Something to chew on.